Well, hello, and welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Connect, and today I'm going to kick off a summer series that I'm calling Back to the Basics. I don't know, I'm thinking about summer school. I never went to like real summer school, but I think of summer as a time where it's s- often slower. Maybe you have some vacations planned. I just got back from a vacation as I'm making this recording, and I'm feeling in that mode of, okay, I'm looking at my weekly schedule and I'm saying to myself, okay, what needs to happen now? And this is what came to me as I thought about this morning and connected to the blog. This is a blog that I actually wrote last year and I repurposed it this year because it's one of the basic messages that I have in my Evolve Your Coaching Business course, online course, as well as in my book, Evolve Your Coaching Business, and I call it the 75-25 rule. And it's something I touch base with. It is a basic for me because it says to me, this rule is whatever I'm going to do next, if I'm going to hire a new coach or I'm going to, as I, look at upgrading my sales copy or upgrading my website, looking at my marketing for my workshop coming up on July 28th, Coach with Confidence. I'm thinking about these things and I could easily go to, oh my gosh, kind of that negative place of I need help. I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. Instead of something much like that, I do need help. I'm not going to do it on my own. But I first go to, well, what is it that I have that's working for me that I want to have more of or bring forth or grow? A basic rule because I know whatever I'm going to do, I need to put 75% of my own effort, time, money, energy into it. And then I get 25% help from other people, from the universe, which is one of my favorite helpers, and other types of help. So 25% comes from outside of myself. 75%, we could include mindset in that, right? That's my responsibility. What's the mindset that I'm bringing to this, what I'm up to next? So, in this message that I wrote, which reminds me, and it's really anchored in the 75-25 rule, it's called The Man from the Magazine. Because another thing that's true about me, besides this rule I have, is that I always have some song playing in my head. I'm a person who has a soundtrack for my life. I was brought up on music. My dad was a music teacher. We always had music playing, whether it was a piano or an instrument or the stereo playing. There was always music playing in my house or people singing instruments. So this song, and it's funny that I bring that up about my dad because my dad lived in Lodi for many years. That's where he lived up until till he passed away in 2001 was Lodi, California. So a year ago, I was visiting Lodi and I was reminded of this song, Stuck in Lodi Again. I love snarky songs. Although I'm a very positive person, most of the time, I really love victimy songs. They're just songs, I can just belt them out if I'm singing to myself or because there's something about it. And so this has a victim meant, this has the whole song is about how this musician is stuck in Lodi and he came here with great expectations and none of them have played out. And it's wah, wah, wah all the way home. And what the note that this really struck for me, we'll connect it to the back to basics piece, is that he has a line, the man from the magazine said I was on my way. This has been one of those experiences I've had so many times in creating my business that I've had moments where I had an uplift. I had somebody came along and they gave me a boost, whether it was like they shared something I had with their followers, or I got to do a presentation in front of their people, or I got an article or a podcast interview. Always wonderful. So I kind of relate that to the man from the magazine when it comes to having a coaching business. It's really great when you have those experiences where somebody else is helping to promote your business. The warning sign is that I'll put up here is that's great. And I really encourage you to take advantage of that when that happens. But that is not what's going to make your business successful. And I'm reminded of an Oprah quote right now that I cannot remember the exact quote about it, but it's like, and maybe it's not even Oprah, but that's who I heard it from, where you really like it's where so dreams come true. That was kind of the series that I completed around dreams when opportunity meets preparation or preparation meets opportunity. So this is a basic is to prepare for when that happens. Prepare for when somebody's going to come along and give you an opportunity. That's your 75%. So when the man from the magazine or when you're out there and you get a boost somewhere, you're ready for it. And part of that preparation, the basics are you want to be ready with what you want to promote in your business. That's like number one. Okay, here's the thing I want to promote. You want to have talking points about it. You want to have something on your website that actually people can go and see something about it. So one of the things when you're preparing, and this kind of ties in with the yin and yang of time management that I talked about a while ago. Part of the preparation is having in your calendar that time to have that dream come true. Okay, so that's one of the basics is you want to be prepared for when those opportunities come because often they come with a timeline that might be tighter than you like. Somebody says, okay, I got it, whatever, a speaking gig in 2 months, or would you like to be on my podcast next week? Or suddenly you're on LinkedIn and somebody has boosted a post of yours and you want to be ready. You don't ever know when it's going to happen. So being prepared for when somebody else is going to promote you is the basics I'm going to put down. You want to be prepared for that. The next place I'm going to go, we're really talking about making dreams come true in the summer series. This is kind of the brass tacks, getting back to basics, is that you want to create your own opportunities. Okay, does this make sense right here? So there are opportunities that other people will present you with. And again, they're really fun and wonderful. I always like them. But you don't want to be waiting around for them. So you're getting things prepared for when another person comes along and gives you an opportunity for that greater visibility. You also, a basic for me is you want to be out creating those opportunities for yourself. So this is, again, a part of if you're in the community and you're listening to this podcast, you have this whole course available to you. And this might be a moment today, this week, to go take a look and say, okay, this is what I think of as personal touch, a personal touch marketing activity where you're looking for who are the people you know or that you have an idea about. You might not know them personally, but where you think, okay, that would be a really great place for me to speak, a person for me to have a connection with so that I can have that partnership in promoting, my business. So that's basic number 2 is to always have in your thinking, how do I connect with, who will I connect with that could help in my promotion? And as you're thinking that through, you want to think through what is your approach to those people or those businesses. There might be some brick and mortar businesses that you want to approach. A lot of their spiritual centers, their health and wellness centers. There are different organizations that are always looking for speakers, places where you might want to do a workshop or a webinar. You want to have those things thought through. That's, again, each one of these basics that I'm bringing up and taking a look at with you have multiple steps. And none of them are hard. None of them are out of your reach. And they all are worth your time and effort. I'm just going to put that in there. Right? To think about, put this in your thinking, put this in your calendar. and in your schedule, who can I reach out to this week who has a platform or some opportunity that I could present what I have to offer to their people. And you're always wanting to look at the win-win. So you want to look at your own side of it, of course. What do you want to promote that will bring in more income and more people aware of your business? But you also want to go, okay, if I'm going to approach that person or that organization, you want to find out what's a win for them. This is another basic. And I learned this way back when I first read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And this concept of win-win. And Stephen Covey was so passionate about this in his message that you actually want to, you don't want to enter into any kind of arrangement with anybody or any organization unless there's a win for them. Because if there's a win for them, they're going to welcome you. They're going to be appreciative of you. They're actually going to go an extra mile for you. Here's an example. A couple of years ago, I approached the ICF Los Angeles organization, which I am a member, and I've done many presentations for them. I had this idea. I said, I'd really love to do I think this was a vision workshop. Here's my vision workshop. I had some points about it for the coaches in your community. And what I want to offer at the end of this presentation, because most people will give you an opportunity to do a pitch of some kind. So again, you want to be prepared for your pitch. Sometimes it's just, they'll usually have their own guidelines. So that's another thing you want to check out when you're looking for these other platforms to do some kind of presentation, speaking, some kind of a guest gig. I offered ICFLA that I would attach my offer. So I don't remember what it was at the time, but I'm going to say if you sign up to be a member of ICF Los Angeles, then you will get this discount or something free from me. That was my pitch. And ICF Los Angeles was thrilled with this. And I don't remember the numbers, but they told me, hey, it really worked. People came to the workshop and signed up to be a member of our organization, and we're really grateful. So they were appreciative of me. They promoted me, and I'm imagining the energy they promoted me with was a higher level because they knew there was a win in it for them. 2 years later, they came back to me. They said, we remember you because of this, what they called this generous offer that you made. And I was grateful for it. I got another opportunity. I did a workshop for them. They came to me to do this. So this is something to really think about. And even though they thought of it was a generous offer, so the win-win can just keep multiplying. Because I thought it was a good strategy, but also I love ICF Los Angeles. I actually feel good doing good for them. I think they do good for coaches. So I felt good. It was a value of mine to give back. So not like it was some, amazing thing or that you would have to offer to these places, but you want to think about what's in it for them that makes you feel good that you could offer them. You might need to do a little research. You might even want to start the conversation with that. Like, so here's my business and I'd love to connect with you or present something to your people. And I'm really curious, what are some of the biggest problems your people are facing right now? Or what is an issue that you would love to see addressed in your community that maybe falls under the category of my business? So when you do this, these are so basic. I'm calling these basics because when you do that, you are saying to these other people that you're doing the personal touch, which is another basic marketing. It's a basic marketing activity to do a personal touch. You're saying to them, I'm not just here to get something. Because we all get so tired of when we feel like we're being marketed to, when we feel like there's a whole grabby thing going on from people who are approaching us. I get this all the time. I'm raising my hand here. Raise your hand if this happens to you. People are approaching you. And even if I feel like it's a friend or a colleague that I really, really like, I will still have a little bit of, still a little bit of that ick factor. If I don't feel like they understand me, they know who I am, they want to do something with me, not just for themselves. So there is that collaboration. And as a coach, you have the coaching skills to make that happen, right? To actually listen to people, to listen at that level 3, to ask those powerful questions, to find out what do they want. Okay? So here are a couple of basics. I'm just going to do a little review. We have basic number 1 is prepare for an opportunity. Be prepared for those opportunities. I guess that wasn't number 1. Number 1 was the 75-25 rule. You want to know that whatever your endeavors are, basically, if you're marketing, when you look at marketing your business, you will need to do 75% of whatever has to get done. And this really, it's just an ongoing way of thinking. There's never going to be somebody to save you. There's never going to be the one thing that comes along that makes your business successful. I hope for you that it's one thing after another. That's what you're really hoping for, that the opportunities come rolling in. And when they come rolling your way, you are prepared. So those are the first 2 tips. Know that, be prepared for the opportunities. 75-25, you're going to need to do 75% of the work. And then this tip number 3 in the basics is you go out and find opportunities for yourself. And when you're looking, because the win-win here is the people you contact, they may not have an opportunity for you that you've thought of. That's the one in your mind. They may have something completely different, and it may not be right now, but they will remember you. So this is maybe, I'll put this in here as the next tip, is think about the long game. So many things are the long game. We love the short game. And that might be, look for those as well. The things that are going to pop you on people's radar this week, this month, next month, so they can bring in business right now. You definitely want those opportunities. But what I want to, a basic I want to put in about the long game is once you have enough long game touches, let's say personal touches with people, organizations that aren't right away, but once you have enough, if you can really look at the math of it, you could see, right, that long game starts paying off and becomes the short game, because now you've cultivated those relationships. And on that, there's the personal touch, which is a basic, but there's also cultivating relationships. And this basic, and I'm going to review these basics that I'm putting out here because I want to do a few more shows this summer that highlight these. I'm going to have some guests on in the next few shows, so you want to stay tuned for that. Some people who I know have a lot of wisdom about success in a coaching business, and I'm going to bring on to talk about some of these basic elements. Okay. So this one, cultivating relationships, comes to my mind because the people I'm going to bring on my show are people who I've cultivated relationships with over the past 20 years. And when you cultivate a relationship, it can be with another coach. It can be with somebody who has a completely different kind of business than yours, but they align with each other. It can be with somebody who has nothing to do with your coaching business, but you cultivate that relationship with them and you both find ways to help each other out. Sometimes it's with business. Sometimes it's not, they don't even have to have a business, but they come to like you and respect you. And this is why, as coaches, we have blogs and podcasts and posts on social media so that we can get into those relationships with people. And over time, they really get to know what we do, what we care about, what we offer, how we might help people in their life. So those are a few of the basics. Really looking, and what I want to put in here to wrap this up today, which is fresh in my heart and mind coming off of vacation, is there's a slow and spaciousness that you can bring to all of these activities. I'm tempted, I'm not going to do it, but I'm tempted to move my camera a bit because one of the things I do is that I have a big board where I put all of the things that I want to get done within the next 3 or 4 months. So I'm going to put this in here as a basic is you want to plan things out over a fairly long period of time. So even if you were to go back to the beginning of this podcast and think about preparing for opportunities and creating opportunities yourself and reaching out to people with that personal touch, cultivating relationships, some of the basics, you want to put them in your calendar or in a time frame. If it's not in your calendar, however you do scheduling, you want to put it in over a spacious amount of time. Think about how it feels when you're meeting somebody or connecting with somebody and you feel them welcoming you and you can feel they're present and they're listening to what you say and new ideas might pop in the moment. All of those things happen when you go slower. And I think of it as that slow and steady. So I have been going very slow and steady because I have a hip injury that it's now going on 7 weeks. I have literally not been able to walk at a faster than a snail's pace. I think of myself as kind of like a turtle. And here's been the big lesson in that for me. I've noticed how the people around me also slow down. Since I'm walking slower, I can't actually do things quickly physically. So the people that I'm with, and I went on this vacation. I had a family reunion. I visited two really dear friends of mine. And on the last visit, my dear friend Corinne said this to me. She said, I'm buzzing around, but on this vacation, I've noticed I've really slowed down. So the people around me have picked up my cue of pace and presence. So I'm offering this to you that it's for you to think about in this summer, these things that you want to do, you want to accomplish, these basics that I'm offering you. And we're going to continue on this podcast and in my blog, how to do them in a way that's slow and spacious and allows you to be present, to get the things done, but to get them done with that consciousness that is, I'm just going to say, I think it's really yummy when we can be present and conscious, more conscious to the connections we're making. You can bring the message that you want to bring. And when you're present, that's when those connections are really made. So I have a deck of cards called the Heart to Heart Connection cards. They're just 52 questions that I came up with 20 years ago and put on cards. And what I found with the history of those cards is they bring people into relationship because powerful questions often have us pause and taking a look and considering. So think about your summer schedule. So this is a basic. Again, we're looking at basics here. And one of the basics is pacing yourself. You cannot do things too fast. And it's best if you don't do things stop and start, right? Because that's when the stopping and starting is we have to get back into it. And, that takes time and that takes energy. And the saboteur loves it when we do stop and start things because there's an opportunity to feel like I'm behind or maybe I was procrastinating and I should be someplace that I'm not right now. So that's my final tip is to always, this is a basic, pace yourself. So you want to pace the tasks, the activities. Think about when you want to do these presentations, when you want to be on people's podcasts, when you want to have those opportunities come to you, actually, you can kind of plan that. You can plan your own output, but you can also look at your calendar and think about, ooh, when would be a good time to actually make a connection with somebody when I have time, when I've done the preparation. And over time, you'll find a rhythm begins. This is the really, really, really good news. I'm thinking from for you, for me, is that you get a rhythm. You get a rhythm going. When you have a rhythm, then you don't have to think so much. Then there isn't so much effort in it. It's that round and round piece. It's another basic. You want to get into a rhythm that includes your marketing, sales, delivering of your service, creative time, goofing off time, vacation time. Maybe I'll just put a period on this podcast with that. If you haven't taken a vacation in a while and you're listening to this podcast and it's kind of stressing you out, oh gosh, there she goes again, talking about all these things I have to do. It might be time for a vacation. And this follows with the basics. You really want to make sure that you put your vacation in at a good time. You don't want to put your vacation in right before, some big thing you're going to do. Maybe you want to put it in after. So that's again part of the rhythm is making sure that you have regular vacations where you get to vacate your home, your dwelling, your town, or at least shut your computer off for a week and get renewed, get that your spirit, your soul, your body, your energy gets renewed because that's what we need as coaches. We need to continually have that our resources renewed so that we can be giving because that's our job, right? That's what we've signed up for as coaches is that we are here to serve. We want to help people, support them to achieve things, to grow. That's what jazzes us up, each in our own way. And in order to do that, you need to have that resource all filled up. Okay, I'm going to end this podcast. I would love to hear from you. I love when I hear the takeaways. I love when I get a message that says, okay, I listened to your podcast today, and here was my takeaway. But also, when you think about basics, I've gone over quite a few here today. What would be some others that I've missed that you'd like me to have a guest on or to bring something from my own knowing about so that you can enjoy your work? You can enjoy that rhythm of life that happens when our work and our home life and, personal joy are all interconnected and shining. Okay. Thanks for joining me today on the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I appreciate your presence and join me next time when I continue the summer series on getting back to the basics of a coaching business.